Hello, everyone. Happy Tuesday. We are joined by USBP, and our presenter today is Tony. The topic will be school security, glazing systems, and our role protecting the future. I'm going to give everyone just a second or two to join here, and then I will show you a few ways to access USBP after today's presentation. A few other things. This is AIA approved, so I will drop a link in the chat just in case you weren't able to submit your number, just to make sure you receive credit for today's presentation. Second thing to note, there will be a poll just about 45 minutes of the way through a presentation. This is a really great way to connect with USBP after today's presentation. And the last thing is that there will be a Q&A. So any questions you have, feel free to drop them in that Q&A button. And if we have time at the end, we will get to them as well. Tony, would you mind stopping sharing your screen for just a sec? Perfect. Okay, so this is our USBP Acelab brand page here. Some really great information. Also gives you some of their product information as well. This is a great place to go if you would like to connect directly with USBP for anything like price quotes, product literature, getting connected to a local rep, etc. One other new thing we have through Acelab, you can connect with them for lunch and learns, CEU credits, etc. So I will drop that link in the chat. Sorry, it's taking a second to load here. Right here, just giving more details about your company name and then what type of meeting you're interested in. So lots of ways to connect with them after today's presentation. And I will stop sharing my screen. And Tony, whenever you're ready, I think we are good to go.
Perfect, thank you.
No problem.
All right, my name's Tony DiPonio. I am the Business Development Manager for US Bulletproofing. We are owned by Specialty Fenestration Group. We also own QuickServe. QuickServe manufactures bullet-resistant transaction windows in levels 1 through 3, multiple market segments, and US Bulletproofing manufactures bullet-resistant doors, storefronts, and curtain walls. Okay, as the purpose of this is to really identify the key criteria that you can use to enhance security and the different levels of protection, to provide an understanding of the best practices and designs to fortify the safety and security, and really look at the different types of ballistic and forced entry standards, and give you a good understanding of them because they vary greatly. And the other thing is to compare and contrast the bullet-resistant solutions offered in this market. Okay, let's talk about an active shooter. What the definition is. It's one or more attackers an attempt to kill multiple people in a location. The victims are unrelated. The other thing is basically 3 or more people in an area constitutes a mass shooting active shooter event. If you look at the statistics, in 1966, there were 9 school shootings. In 2024, there were 332. When you look at the number of victims in 1970, there were 32. In 2024, there were 267. And you can just take a glance at that map of school shootings and see where it's really populating the United States. In 2020, gun-related incidents surpass vehicle crashes as a leading cause of death among children and adolescents. Okay, when we talk about statistics at school where incidents happen, the majority are in the parking lot. Some of them are shooting, some of them are fights and whatnot. The rest of it is 338 incidents in the front of the school. Look at the number besides the building, and then you start looking at the interior of the building when you're sitting there looking at the classrooms. How did they get in there? The bathrooms, the cafeteria, the gym, the courtyards. And if you go back and look at the football field, that's usually a remote area somewhere off the main building. Okay, when we talk about protection, okay, it has to start with the district. They have to take the initiative. They look at the different squares. So protection is a mindset as well. The district has to accept the fact that they need to protect these schools. That's the first thing. And then you look at the property perimeter. That's just outside of school. Are there fences? Are there cameras? How are you deterring crime? And then past that, you got to look at the parking lot. What is the flow of that parking lot? Is there one way in, one way out? Are you making it hard for somebody to get in there? And then where we come into play is the building perimeter. That's your exterior windows and doors and whatnot, a vestibule on the inside. And after that, your final level of protection is your classroom interior perimeter, which would be your classroom doors, windows in the doors. What type of locks are you using to keep those people out? So when we're designing for the school security, you have to think of the path this person's going to take. The first thing they're going to do usually is they're going to walk up to the doors and try and gain entrance. What happens after that? You want to create a secure environment, a vestibule. So you're going to have to go through another storefront. You're going to have an area in that you're going to have a wall that's protected. And in that wall, you can have a transaction window or a reception window. You can have a package receiver to pass backpacks, larger type items, folders, whatnot, binders. And then you also have to remember the exterior windows. A lot of that can take place in the classrooms or main gathering areas, such as an auditorium or cafeteria. Okay, here's just another example, just looking at the front line. So they get through the front entrance. That's usually not bullet resistant. And this is where they're going to have the communication with your school staff. And we hit on it a little bit from the overhead view before. And that's where it's really important to have that wall, that area totally ballistic in a new construction type situation, or even a retrofit. Some of these walls are going to be concrete blocks, so they may meet that criteria already. If not, as you can see that small hatch there in the bottom, bullet resistant fiberglass panels should be installed in that wall, because there's really no sense in doing the doors, the package receiver, the window in bullet resistance and haven't been able to shoot through a wall. Okay. Now we're going to go over to different types of standards for ballistic and force entry testing. Still today, the most commonly used is the UL 752 standard for ballistic protection. Level 1 through 3 are basically handguns. Level 4 through 8, which is most commonly used for high power rifles in the United States of America. 9 and 10 are usually supplementary ratings for for a sniper rifle or something like that. When looking at this chart, level 6 actually falls somewhere between level 2 and 3. And a lot of people ask the question, what level of protection is most commonly used in schools in the United States of America today? And the answer is level 3 to stop any type of handgun. Okay, so now we're going to look at the design principles, and you're going to see a couple videos here. Let me go back. See if I can get this one up. This is shooting at the glass. The bullet is stopped. The next video you're going to see is the actual shooter shooting at that glass. And again, UL 752 standards are to stop that bullet, to not let it go through that glass. A newer testing criteria is ASTM 3561. This is a little bit different. It will allow bullets to go through. So when you look at the testing protocol for Windows, 10 rounds from a 5.56 millimeter, which is an AR-15 basically, through the windows, 18 shot circle pattern, 2 in the center. For doors, it's 5 rounds. So what this does, and then you have your forced entry, which is a 100-pound impactor at the center of the glazing or frame, okay? And there's levels 1 through 8, and it's a stepped approach. This will let bullets go through. However, the glass in the frames will stay intact, so the person cannot enter the building. Again, the bullets will go through this, but the people cannot enter the building. Then there's the ASTM F1233. This is a forced entry test, and this is a step. Class 1, you're hitting with a hammer all the way through class 5, and you can see the different ratings, what they go through. It's 41 steps, several men just going at this constantly, and this is to keep the people out of the building. So one thing you need to look at, whoever you're choosing to do your project or design this project with you, is non-standard testing. There are people out there doing their own test. That is not in conjunction with UL2. That is not in conjunction with ASTM 3561. So make sure whoever you choose is using the proper testing criteria. Okay, so now let's talk about the products. When we look at this, no matter what you're going to go with, UL or ASTM 3561 or 1233, these are system tests. Make sure you have a system test, not the glass tested and frame tested independently. You need everything tested together as a system working together. People can get their glass tested. You put that glass in a standard storefront, that storefront can fail. It can fail to the point where the depth may not be big enough in the pocket, the glazing stop may be not secured enough. So your glass may work, but if you're going putting bullet ray glass in a regular storefront, the force of that bullet and impact could actually knock the stop out and the glass could fall inside the building. So here's a little chart for your own use. We can offer this after the presentation. This pretty much gives the thicknesses of all the different types of ballistic glazing, level 1 through 8. And this is whenever an incident happens, people say we want level 8. Level 8 can be 2¼ inches thick, and it can weigh 28 pounds a square foot. And a regular storefront can't support that. These are things, and the cost is astronomical. That's why you start looking at level 3, and it's lightweight. It can fit into an existing storefront. If they choose to do that, we do not recommend to ever do that. But we know stuff gets value engineered out. Sometimes something is better than other. My opinion is this is still better than 3561 because you are stopping the bullet. So that's just that. When you look at the different types of bullet resistant glazing, you have acrylic, polycarbonate, glass clad polycarbonate, and all glass. Rule of thumb, acrylic and polycarbonate should only be used on the interiors of building. They cannot withstand the elements. Glass clad polycarbonate and all glass can be used in interior and exterior. How does bullet resistant glazing work? Well, let's just talk about glass and glass clad polycarbonate first, and laminated polycarbonate. These are several layers of glass and polycarbonate, or all glass and all polycarbonate. And there's a hybrid that's a polycarbonate and acrylic that are basically put into an oven with an inner layer, and there's a ton of different types of inner layers people are using right now, and baked at a very low temperature to melt everything together. And when you have all this, you have to think about the automatic brake system of your car. It's blunting that bullet as it's coming through. It's stopping the energy. One thing I want to digress a little bit back here. The UL 752 standard is what we call a no-spall standard. That means the interior board of that glazing must be polycarbonate. Now, there's an addendum where it's a modified test where you can use a glass on the interior exterior. You will get some spalling off the back of that. The difference is polycarbonate is very susceptible to chemicals. You clean polycarbonate with ammonia, it's going to craze, it's going to cloud up. That's why they went back to using the glass on the interior board. It really helps that, and it pretty much doesn't occur if maintained properly. Okay, security film. There is no such thing as bullet resistant film. It does not stop bullets. It is good for forced entry. Okay, the bullets are going to go through. When you look at security film, if you're thinking about security film, have that manufacturer put that film on a 1-inch IG unit. That's what's used in all schools, not half-inch laminated glass for energy codes. Have them put it on that 1-inch IG unit. Have them test it for you, okay? Another thing is that film may void the warranty of that IG unit, so that needs to be taken into consideration as well. As a matter of fact, the International Window Film Association put a statement out saying that film is not bullet resistant. Again, this is available on their website. Feel free to take a look at it. Here's a test with the bullet resistant film on an insulated glass unit. It went right through. Okay, so when we talk about hardening the facility, nobody can really prevent an intruder from entering, but we can slow them down. That's the key. Okay. This is going to give time for the first responders to get there. It's going to give time for everybody to get to a safe location. You got to understand something. Bullet resistant systems are designed to a specific level. Like I said, level 3, that's at 44 Magnum. We're guaranteeing it's going to stop a 44 Magnum. If you shoot it with a high power rifle, that may go through. It's going to stay intact. It's going to give people the time to get there, the first responders the time to get there. Now, when we talk about security doors, you need to have access control, okay? You need to make sure whatever type of locking mechanism on there corresponds with all the rest of your access control, whether it's a card reader. I would always suggest magnetic locks. Magnetic locks in conjunction with a heavy duty security door or bullet resistant door is perfect. They cannot get through. These doors do weigh a lot. A couple other things that I always recommend are a continuous hinge. We've seen them on pivots, we've seen them on butt hinges. Usually after about a year or two, they will fail just because of the pure weight of the door. Okay. When we're sitting there and looking at framing doors and windows options, just again, like I said earlier, just replacing the glass will not solve the issue of intrusion. When you look at a security door or bullet resistant door, number one, the thickness of the door, a regular storefront door is 1.75 inches. A bullet resistant aluminum storefront door is anywhere from 2 3/8 inches thick to 2 3/4 inches thick. A regular aluminum wall in a storefront door is about a little bit over a 1/16 inch thick. Bullet resistant aluminum doors, the wall is anywhere between 1/4 and 3/8 inches thick. The other thing is you got to look at the different types of glazing and anchors. These systems are engineered with the anchors in mind to withstand the impact. Your regular storefronts may not be engineered to withstand that impact. Okay, like I talked about earlier, bullet resistant fiberglass panels, they're available in level 1 through 8. Again, don't design just to put that transaction window in a reception window. You really have to think about the area surrounding it. In new construction, it's put on before the drywall. You have batten strips in it. You don't mount it like you do, you don't install it like you do drywall on the studs. You put it in between the cavities and that 4-inch batten strip goes behind it. You should also reinforce behind electrical outlets and switches. If it is a retrofit situation, it can be installed on top of existing drywall. Okay, so when we look at some applications and some photos here, we'll just go through this quickly. Here is an example of a properly designed security vestibule in a school. You have your cinder block wall that has some bullet resistant principles to it. That whole interior vestibule is level 3 bullet resistant. The exterior is a non-bullet resistant regular storefront. Pick a manufacturer who can match it. You can't tell that door on the interior vestibule and exterior, you can't tell the difference. One's bullet resistant and one's not. The other thing is you notice the camera in there. Have the cameras in there. You need that. You need to be able to identify the person that's in there. Okay, this is an example of that same job on the exterior. Again, I'm going to go back and forth. Look what the exterior doors look like. Look what the interior bullet resistant doors look like. Minimal difference at best. Okay, the reception window. We always would, you have kids coming in there, parents coming in there. This is an example of what's called a baffle window. It doesn't have a big bulky steel frame around it. It's warm. Even though they're going to look at it and say, wow, that glass is a little bit thicker, it doesn't really present itself as being a high security window or bullet resistant window. Now, this window is level 3 bullet resistant, a hybrid. It has a 1-inch acrylic core with an 1/8 polycarbonate cap sheet. The beautiful thing about this material is those edges polished clear, as you can see, and you see that camera up there in the corner. You can still get a good camera shot through in case somebody needs to review security footage. Okay. Here is an interior vestibule again. This is done properly. Look at, you have top of the line hardware on it. You have your mag locks up top, heavy duty LCN closers, continuous hinges, which you can't see, and very heavy duty Von Duprin panic bars. Some other areas you need to take in consideration. Storefront systems. Again, here, unfortunately, what just happened in Minnesota, they shot in through the exterior. And, you know, that has not been common up until the Minnesota shooting. This is a school cafeteria. It can all be done in bullet resistant. Level 3, commonly, like I said, some schools will go to level 5. It can be cost prohibitive though. Again, this is an example of a bullet resistant curtain wall. You have your doors and entrance here, and you have the curtain wall extending several floors there, 2 floors. So in conclusion, when you look at it, a fortress isn't required to slow down an intruder or a vandal. You know, you don't need bulky steel framing. You still want it to be architecturally appealing. You really don't want it to look out of the norm, and you don't want somebody to sit there and try and figure out different areas to break in the building and really study it. Ballistic rated systems are effective to deter entry and prevent injuries to victims. And the door and or window systems works as a complete system, not individual components. Again, whenever you're looking at something, make sure it's a rated system. Okay, so there's a lot of different resources out there, more than ever, and these are some great resources. The first, Learn Glazing. They have a whole series of bullet-resistant materials, security films. They have any type of other fenestration systems, a great resource. The next one, this is the most important one, Partner Alliance for Safer Schools. This is a collaboration of all different types of security manufacturers, from access controls, bullet resistant manufacturers like ourselves, people, a matter of fact, doing the signage in the parking lots, in conjunction with local government, to give you a white paper, a guide. Where do you start? How do you approach this multi-layered system? And it also helps you with your budget. Hey, we can afford this, but we can't afford that. Okay, the National Glass Association, another great resource. If you have any questions about bullet resistant glazing, school security film, protective glazing, whatnot. Our company here also offers different CEU courses, designing for ballistic windows and doors. We have a great blast one. My colleague Tom Haynes is one of the experts in the country. He gives a phenomenal presentation on that. And then we have one for forced entry protection at doors and windows. Okay, and again, my name's Tony DiPonio. This is my cell phone number. It's my personal email address. I've been doing this for 30 years. I'm committed to people doing it right. We like to educate people. And I may tell you, our company cannot provide that solution, and we can lead you in a direction that can supply that solution. Because at the end of the day, it's all about making sure those schools are safe and secure, and these children are safe and are able to come home at night. That pretty much concludes. I'm going to stop sharing now. And if you have any questions, I'll be more than happy to take them.
Hello, thank you so much, Tony. I'm going to give everyone a second to fill out the poll. I'm going to launch it right now. Give me just a second here, and then we'll get into questions. Give me one sec here. Okay, everyone should see that poll. I am launching it right now, and let me pull up some questions. It might just take a second here because my internet's lagging quite a little bit. Did you see the poll come up okay, Tony?
Yes, I did.
Okay, perfect. Okay, the first question we have here, I don't know if you touched on it just slightly, but just generally about lead times and like assistance with the design process.
Yeah, that's a great question. First thing, assistance with the design process, be comfortable with who you're dealing with. There's a lot of manufacturers out there who their primary line are other things that are just getting into us. And then there's about five of us in this niche industry. I would say reach out to one of us and have them be part of your solution. And those are good questions to ask. Lead times, you want to know how long it takes to get approval drawings. Our company is usually 1 to 2 weeks. And then lead times on standard bullet resistant storefronts, I would say anywhere from 10 to 14 weeks if it's a anodized finish. If it's painted, you can add another 6 weeks because all the manufacturers receive their material in either anodized in clear or dark bronze. So if you want to switch a color, have it painted, it has to all go back, be stripped down, and then be painted. Another thing, when choosing a manufacturer, you want to see how many of these type of projects they've done. What is their depth? Do they have a nationwide service program? That's a main thing. And when you're just looking at that little small reception window, transaction window, those lead times can be anywhere from 4 to 6 weeks. Our company does have standard windows because we manufacture on a production line, and we'd be happy to get anybody our standard window list so you could engineer around that size. And that's usually three to 5 days from order.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. The next question I had is what UL 752 levels do you offer, and how do I determine which level is appropriate for my project?
We offer 1 through 10. It is project specific. Like I said, you can contact us. Again, most commonly used in schools is usually starts with three. And then we've seen some schools are going with level 4 and 5. So 5 is designed to stop that AR-15, the high power rifle. That's a little bit smaller that can be concealed. 7 and 8 usually are bigger rifles, sniper type rifles. But again, I would start with level 3. Another good thing is talk to your local law enforcement. They're very involved with this. The police chiefs, the tactical people, they would be more than willing to assist in this, and they have a say in it. The other thing is that way they know what's in there in case they ever have to go in there.
Awesome. And we have one final question here for you guys. Do you provide installation support or training for glazing contractors?
100%. Yes. We have a program that we work with the Glazers. Actually, we just gave a nice program yesterday to Walters and Wolf, who's one of the biggest Glazers on the West Coast. And yes, we have 100% back the Glazers. Our company's one of our mottos is both of our companies, U.S. Bulletproofing and Quick Serve. We're both formed by Glazers, so we like to say we are by Glazers for Glazers. So we have a great support staff for that.
Awesome. I think that's everything on my end, Tony and Brian. Do you have any final thoughts or anything else you wanted to mention about USBP?
Not really, just to say that we're here again, an educational aspect. In again, we will answer anything extremely honestly. Hey, we don't do this, and we will recommend 2 or 3 companies that do, because there are some companies out there who are very good at marketing and they get the word out there. I'm not going to mention names, but there's other companies that don't market as well that can supply a better product that they may need.
Got it. Awesome. Well, thank you everyone for filling out the poll. Tony and Brian will be in touch after today's presentation, and let them know if you have any other questions. You will have their contact information. And I think that's everything.
Thank you very much. You guys have a great day.
Have a fabulous rest of your day. Goodbye.
Bye.